Right, the next area I'd like to cover is business expenditure. What expenses can you deduct from your profits? It's a question I'm commonly asked. I think people actually realise they can deduct their sort of purchases and everything else, the direct sort of costs against their sort of profits. But what other sort of expenses can people claim? Well, really, if it's got a business component to a particular cost, and then yes, you can deduct it from your profits and hopefully then reduce your tax liabilities a little bit. Things like sort of home phone costs, home sort of broadband, internet, yes, those types of costs can be deducted from your profits. However, you do need to make a fair assessment of what proportion of those costs are business, what proportion of those costs are private, and obviously the business element you can actually deduct from your profits. One cost which is often commonly missed is home costs. If you're an actual employee, so if you're a limited company, it tends to be a little bit limited. The revenue only give you an allowance of £4 per week as a use of home sort of deduction. But if you're self-employed, then you can claim a proportion of the actual sort of costs. So you're looking at your costs like mortgage interest. If your property's let, then the rent you pay, council tax, water rates, repairs, and those types of costs. So what you basically do is, if you've got an area, not exclusively, but an area which you actually use for business purposes, typically in your house, add up all the costs of the house, divide it by the number of rooms, that'll be a typical sort of room cost, and then claim an appropriate percentage of that particular room costs as a deduction against your profits. It is often missed, or it's one not claimed at all, or secondly, a very small amount claimed. It is a cost you'd be incurring, so do look at that particular cost quite carefully, because again, it will reduce the amount of tax. Key to sort of costs though, really, is I would suggest if you're using an accountant, put them in the records and everything else, then the accountant can determine what sort of percentage of costs they can actually sort of claim to reduce your sort of profits. If the cost isn't recorded in the records, then the chances are you're going to get no deduction at all.